FNaF World has undergone two major updates since its release. The first made the map 3D, as well as fixing notable bugs. Today I want to talk about the second update, the Halloween update. This added entirely new areas to the game, as well as minigames, new characters, and another final boss fight. What does this have to do with the Cheater's Guide? Well, the Halloween update has some very unique properties, and how they relate to the save files may be challenging to understand. I'll do my best to explain it here, so let's get started. To get to the new content, the main method is to defeat security and then talk to Duskman. Only if you have beat Game 1 in your save file will talking to Duskman make Fredbear spawn outside his house. Fredbear will then open the portal for you. Alternatively, you can access the Halloween backstage through the secret entrance alluded to by Purple Guy. Just go press against these trees for a while until you go through them. Follow the path and you'll end up down here by the gravestones. This is an easy way to get all the Halloween characters early and steamroll your way through the rest of the game. The first new area added to the game has no official name, but is often referred to as Halloween Land or the Halloween Backstage. This area is completely unique for several different reasons. It's explorable in 3D like the overworld, but it has no random encounters or bosses, no name displays in the top left corner, you cannot use jump points, and the only menu you can access is your party selection. It's easy to think this area should be mapped out like the overworld, and that you should be capable of using the save files to mess with it. However, this is not the case. Halloween Land is comparable to the subtunnels or the minigames in that it does not exist on the map. You cannot save your position within it, you cannot move yourself around using the files, and you cannot change your area. Halloween Land never updates your position and does not have a designated area. Therefore, it is impossible to move yourself into it from the files, and whenever you close and reopen the game, you will no longer be there. The save file does update when you open the party menu and when you complete minigames, but it only adjusts what characters you have available and on your party. If you manually change other variables without closing the game and force an update through the party menu, nothing will appear to change. Changing your coordinates and area appear to do nothing. This is because you are updating your position on the main map, not in Halloween Land. If you close and reopen the game, then you will see what you did. By default, when you enter the Halloween backstage, your coordinates and area remain on your last saved position. Most often this will be somewhere in Fazbear Hills. Closing and reopening the game will put you back here, unless you modified your save file to place yourself somewhere else. But if you exit through the portal instead, you will always be placed just outside the portal in Fazbear Hills. Fun fact, in the mobile version of FNaF World, if you encounter lag while on the main map, you'll probably notice that Halloween Land runs much more smoothly. This is because it's a much smaller map and has fewer assets. You're unable to talk to Duskman in the mobile port, but you can still enter through the secret entrance and do the Halloween backstage segment that way. You can also exit Halloween Land into the Geist Lair, the other new area in the Halloween update. Unlike Halloween Land, Geist Lair is actually on the map. If you hit tab, you'll see that you're off in the black area to the right. That means Geist Lair behaves like other overworld areas and does save your position. It also has random encounters and you can access all of your menus. It does, however, remove your jump points so you can't jump back to some other area. Geist Lair is a maze, and since you can't see it on your minimap, it's hard to know where you're supposed to go. A general rule of thumb is just follow the left wall. Most of the time you travel left to get where you want to go. Be aware that this is the only area in-game that factors in environmental hazards. The toxic air of the Geist Lair will drain your character's health unless you equip Bubble Breath. Setting your character's HP really high can combat this, as well as making them able to defeat enemies and win battles much faster. Geist Lair's area is 50, but I do not recommend setting your area to 50 while elsewhere because it will apply the toxic air effect. It is possible to roam Geist Lair in an area other than 50, but you can't fight the final boss in any other area because the entire boss area is a trigger point and will immediately set your area back to 50. If you enter Geist Lair and then open your game in a previous release or in the demo, you're now far off to the right of the map with nothing around you. This is a way you can get out of bounds without doing any save file manipulating. The Halloween update also added 8 new playable characters: Jacko Bonnie, Jacko Chica, Anim Dude, Mr. Chipper, Nightmare BB, Nightmare Yon, Coffee, and Purple Guy. Unlike the other characters, these don't appear as challengers and must instead be unlocked by beating the 4 minigames in specific ways. Freddy in Space gives you Jacko Bonnie by default, Coffee if you beat it without getting any power-ups, and Purple Guy if you beat it with all of the power-ups. Foxy.exe gives you Nightmare Yon if you win without losing all 3 lives. Foxy Fighters gives you Jacko Chica by default and Nightmare BB if you get an A, scored by defeating as many enemies as possible and losing as little health as possible. And Chica's Magic Rainbow gives you Anim Dude by default and Mr. Chipper if you beat it in under 3 minutes. Some of you, when you first started playing on the new update, may have discovered you already had Anim Dude or Mr. Chipper unlocked. This is because Scott had originally intended for these characters characters to be unlocked by defeating Animdude and Chipper's Revenge, respectively. Early releases of Update 2 still had this in the code, and this is also the reason why Beat Game 2 and 3 can still be found in the FNaF W files despite not affecting gameplay. Now, it is actually possible to get the Halloween characters to challenge you in the main game. To do this, you must manually set your area to a high number around 50, but don't use 50. I recommend 49. Enable the chip Find Characters and try to get random encounters without crossing any map triggers. You can just run into a wall if you want. Since the Halloween characters aren't supposed to be able to challenge you, they have no battle spray for this, so instead you'll find yourself up against a backward-facing Freddy named Text. You won't be able to tell which character you have unlocked until you check your character menu. If no one was unlocked, the challenger was an invalid character. Check the bottom of your FNaF W file and it'll have added a new Have entry. The final boss added to the game is Purple Geist. Chica's Magic Rainbow. This is the only boss that gives you an actual time limit, after which you will die no matter what. Defeating her gives you the final cutscene and end credits, as well as unlocking the Rainbow Trophy. I hope this was an enlightening episode, and if there's more you want to know, feel free to ask. Until next time!